Aragorn is not black. He never can be black. He never will be black. Do you know how I know this to be true with absolute certainty? Because I've read a trilogy of books. You may have heard of them. It's called The Lord of the Rings. It's an amazing book series by J.R.R. Tolkien. You may have heard of him too. One of the greatest literary writers of all time. He had a vision for his world, which was deep, complex, interesting. But you have a bunch of low IQ, TikTok oriented, low attention span, desperate, degenerate, virtue hungry fucking losers who couldn't write a story to save their life, thinking that they can come in and start making alterations to this master work. Hey, let's just change a race here and there. Let's change a sexual orientation here and there. Hey, let's just start adding different races of people in our world into different places in this world, even though it makes no goddamn sense. After all, if you do, the brain trust on Twitter is just going to come up with excuses anyway. Like, it's a fantasy. Why do you care so much? They can do what they want. I mean, it is the most embarrassing display of infantile just mewing. And just, they said mean words. They're racist. It's like, no, you simpleton. You absolute cretin. You buffoon. You waste of oxygen that could be used on any other living, breathing that actually produces some value to the planet. The reason why people are upset at this is because Aragorn is not black. He never will be black. He never can be black. And the reason that you're doing this is so transparent that a blind, deaf, comatose lobotomy patient can figure it out. You have some gender studies nobody, some fucking loser, some person, and I know that people may take this the wrong way. I'm not advocating for this, but if they were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, or God forbid, realize the uselessness and futility of their life and what they're doing, and were to put a gun in their mouth and blow their head off, the world would not know or care. It would keep going on because they are irrelevant. They have no marketable skill. They have no talent. They have no charisma. They have nothing. They have nothing. There is nothing about them that is in any way remarkable, which is why they desperately try to do this. They desperately try to inject something, anything that they can virtue signal on to make themselves feel better about the fact that there is nothing about them that is remarkable or good. They are evil, soulless people desperately looking for something to cleanse the miasma of filth that they've built around themselves through degeneracy, through drugs, through sex, through all this degenerate bullshit. They have built this stink, this cocoon of garbage, and now they're trying to find a way out. And they think that the easiest way to do that is to start vandalizing, culturally vandalizing pieces of legendary, masterful work with this bait, this garbage. Like, hey, we're going to make Aragorn black, even though it makes no sense, even though it's not real, so that they can go on Twitter and say, look at all these racists who are against this. Well, I'm here to be the nail in the fucking cocoon. I am here to remind you that not only are the people who are criticizing this not racist, they are the only true Tolkien fans, but that reality-wise, you don't care about Tolkien. You don't care about Lord of the Rings. You don't care about this. This has been on display multiple times. I've looked through the Twitter trend, and we're going to go through that. And boy, oh boy, are you in for a disappointing disaster. We're going to take a look at Carl Benjamin's post, which I think is by far the one of the few refuges in this. But just take a moment to just breathe in the filth and the miasma of this toxic, disgusting, worthless human being. Award when you haven't won anything of note. I didn't hear about you before today. You are irrelevant. But here's what this guy says. The same racist, because it's racist to call this out, Nazi effers who claim that a black elf in the Rings of Power and now a black mermaid And no. No. A black dwarf in the Rings of Power. Oh, there was a black elf. Um, a black elf and a black dwarf make absolutely well. The black dwarf you could possibly say like, hey, because it's subterranean. Actually, no, it's the opposite. Um, no, the dwarves would be pasty white because there's no sun. So no, that is rejected. And yeah, the elves are white. They're all white. Every one of them is white. There's no question about that because again, I've read the source material on this. It's pretty definitive. Pretty definitive. There's no wiggle room. You and your group of degenerate cultists that, by the way, are in favor of sexualizing children. You have decided that you and your cult, your cabal of just fucking losers, can change anything in culture, vandalize it, ruin it, taint it in an irreparable way. We see this with Star Wars. And if anyone criticizes it, you're going to come out with both guns blazing. But here's the deal: my guns are bigger than yours. And what I will tell you is this: I have no problem laying you out in the arena of ideas because your ideas are so paper thin. You are a paper tiger, all of you. There is no substance to anything that you say. Everything that you say is as vapid as this created character that you're LARPing with because you're deep down a bunch of fucking racist people. You are a group of losers that view the world through the lens of race and gender because you have nothing else. That stink, that stench of filth, that garbage that you built up around yourself through your own sins, through your lack of empathy, your lack of remorse, your lack of accountability, that thing that you've built up there, you're thinking that this is your way out by calling everyone else racist, but no, it just makes you deeper in the fucking cocoon. So, this guy has this obnoxious, terrible statement. By the way, there are no black elves. Ariel is not black. A black mermaid in the new Little Mermaid. No, Ariel, the red hair, blue-eyed mermaid. Um, no, there is no black Aragorn. This is the problem, Mr. Leavitt, and Carl Benjamin is way more eloquent than I am, is that there is no such thing as black Aragorn. Tolkien describes Aragorn as having pale skin, long hair, and green eyes. This character does not match that description, and is transparently a skin suit for your wacky left-wing ideology. We won't have it. Yes, that is absolutely true. You do realize Aragorn doesn't exist either. So this is a very, very popular defense. Well, this person doesn't actually exist. Well, when something becomes popular to the degree that the Tolkien trilogy is, you as a creator have an obligation to do no harm to the character, to portray them as accurately to the source material as possible. See, what this person is attempting to do is basically use a very weak tactic because this person has no real argument. There is no defense for it. There is no, well, here's why they made Tolkien. Here's why they changed Tolkien's character. Here's why Aragorn needs to be black. Here's why it betters the series. Here's why it enhances everything. So you have people like this just coming out, slithering out of the woodwork, to come out and say, you do realize that he doesn't exist. He does exist. Not in the real world, but he exists in a fantasy world, which has become popular, sold thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of books. It is a long-standing series that has been around longer than you have. The Lord of the Rings has existed far longer than you, and it will exist long after you're dead. Because even if you do this, this is not going to catch on. This is a blatant and pathetic attempt to try to it's just virtue porn. It's a skin suit. Yeah, exactly. Because these people on the left, they vandalize culture. And the reason that they do it varies, but a lot of them do it simply because they want to get a reaction. They want a culture war win. They don't give a shit. The problem is, Carl Benjamin, is you're inserting politics where there isn't any. Yes, absolutely, there is politics. And the politics is the cult of left-wing ideology. It's a black character when it's canonically a white character. It's called poetic license. No, it's called shit. To make Aragorn black is a political decision. There is no other reason to flout canon to such a radical degree than for diversity and inclusion. Calling out this politicization is appropriate. It's not poetic license. It's attacking the fandom. Yes, absolutely true. Well done, Sargon. That is absolutely true. This is an attack on the fandom because these people are not fans of this. They're not fans of Tolkien. What they are fans of is the culture war. They're fans of these cheap political wins, of feeling good for a couple seconds of their meaningless, worthless lives by attacking fans who enjoy Tolkien's work. And they spit on him, his legacy, and the fans of this with this cheap, create a character bullshit. And by the way, let me also say, because it was mentioned about Ariel from The Little Mermaid. I saw something from one of Disney's parks, and it was a black Ariel walking around the park. And here's the thing. When I first saw her, I thought it was a guest at the park. It was the most undescript, just like, oh, this could be anyone. It was generic. And that's the thing here. You are putting black people into these character roles like they're some kind of, cosplayer. And this, you look at this guy, this does not look like Aragorn. Like, you look at Aragorn from the books, you look at Aragorn from the movies, that looks like Aragorn. This does not. And that's a huge problem because you're doing this for no reason. Marketing-wise, it is terrible. Fan art allows fans to indulge. It's not fan art. It's an officially licensed Lord of the Rings product. It's meant to be representing Aragorn. Yeah. Gamer bros and dudes are willing to believe in orcs, trolls, wizards, and just the filth. Just the human ooze, the garbage that has festered up from this. It's so palpable. These people are fucking miserable. Don't doubt me on this. Just gamer bros and dudes who are willing to believe in orcs. No one actually believes in orcs, trolls, and wizards, but they enjoy a bit of fantasy. And this just unbelievable. Can you imagine them seething in their parents' basement? Remember that these people are pathologically incapable of telling the truth. They're also pathologically incapable of telling the difference between reality and fantasy. They are incapable of telling the difference between fantasy and reality. The people who cannot distinguish between fantasy and reality as seen become women Lord of the Rings All right, there we go. The seething coat from these mind virus infested weirdos. Um, let's see. Incapable of telling the truth, they are so twisted by lies that they can only believe you live in a world of untruth too. Nobody cares that he's black. They care Aragorn was deliberately misrepresented. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Unreal. So if we go down here, I mean, actually it was gray eyes, not green. His appearance though was important because gray eyes and dark hair were all traits which marked the Duna Dunedain Dunedain Dunedain. Yeah, the mixed bag of races we see around us is byproduct of Western technology that allowed Europeans to cruise the world. Okay, all right. Um, so the point here is that you have so much garbage rising to the surface in the forms of trying to defend this, and it's all because these people are ideologically possessed. They are part of a cult. They don't care about Aragorn. They don't care about this. They just care about watching something that you like go in flames because they're trying to drag you down and make you as miserable as they are. That's all this is. There is not one legitimate reason to make this change. Not one. There's not one valid reason. Not one of these people, not one of these so called, well, this is the best thing for it and they can do what they want. Not one person can make the argument that this is the best thing to do or that this is valid. They can't. Oh, well, but it's official from, well, it's not Aragorn. It's not. And you know how I know that? Again, I'll reiterate. Do you know how I know that? Because I read the books. You see, I may be the only person on the internet willing to call you people out who are part of this mind virus for what you really are and to reveal what utterly evil, irredeemable people you are. You wake up every single day, and I've said this in other videos. You wake up every single day looking for something to dig your way out of the cocoon of filth that you've built around yourself. The degeneracy, the dishonesty, you have built yourself a prison, and now you're looking for a way out, and you think that by insulting other people's fandoms and their intellectual property that they enjoy, you think that somehow it's going to make your life better, but it is not. It never will. This guy will continue to be the irrelevant shit stain that we now know him to be. I didn't know who this was before. I didn't give a shit who this was before. Who cares who this guy is? He's out here trying to demean the fandom because they don't like this generic garbage. So, we're going to end things on a post from, oh yeah, so my good buddy Vito, being sarcastic, the designer responsible for the new Lord of the Rings diversity changes describes her job title as in-house lead SJW. At least she's honest. With the help of cultural sensitivity consultants, oh boy. Here are some changes in the Magic the Gathering card art, and I vehemently push for. Out of curiosity, what's your job title? My main contribution to this set was to constantly push for a race and gender diverse Middle Earth, setting that. Okay, so no, so exactly like I said. I mean, did I call this or what? I didn't even know this. This, I pull up these things. I maybe read a line or two. Um, I didn't realize it was this bad, but I fucking called it. I called it. You have this nobody, this absolute nobody. I cannot emphasize this enough. These people, I mean, just look at them. Look at the hair. Look at the way they talk. Everything about this person is inferior on every level. On every level. But they feel that they are entitled and that they are privileged to make changes to works that they not only didn't help create, but could not help create. I guarantee you that if you give this person $10 million, there is not a chance in hell that they could ever create anything that people would willingly want to read or consume. There's not a single thing, and that's the problem. These are the most unlikable, psychopathic, narcissistic, delusional people in the fucking world. And they're being given control of these IPs. And then people like Carl, good old Sargon, and even goddamn Vito coming out and saying, yeah, this is a really terrible thing and it may not be a good idea. Vito didn't say it that much because he likes to, he likes to be a leftist most of the time. But anyone looking at this can tell that this was a political choice. This was identity politics. This was the far left cult in action. And I'm just here to say no, Aragorn will always be white. Your cult is denied. You can push the stuff, no one's buying it. I know these people are, but they're not fans of Lord of the Rings. All the people that we go through and we look at that have this attitude like this is not a fan of Lord of the Rings. These are not fans of Lord of the Rings. The people who are fans of Lord of the Rings are the ones like Carl, who at the very least is willing to make a stand and say, no, you're not going to defame and rob the brilliant works of Tolkien. Anyway, that'll do it for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to talk about this because Aragorn isn't black. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.